The round begins with the bailiff reading a short script that calls the court into session and announces the judges and the case before the court. Everyone will stand as you and your fellow judges walk to the bench. The bailiff will proceed to the bailiff chair, which is located between the judges' bench and the counsel tables. After everyone is seated, the judge serving as president will indicate that the audience may be seated and that the first oralist may begin her presentation. The first applicant oralist will present his or her case, followed by the second applicant oralist. Next, the respondent oralists will present their case in chief in the same manner. At the option of each team, the rebuttal and surrebuttal follow the main arguments. If the applicant team so chooses, and it usually does, one of the applicant oralists will present a brief rebuttal that is limited in scope to the respondent's case in chief. Then, if the respondent so chooses, and again it usually does, one of the respondent agents will present a brief surrebuttal, which should be limited to the scope of the applicant's rebuttal. In general, the rebuttal and surrebuttal last 1 to 3 minutes each, but can sometimes be longer. As mentioned, each team has a total of 45 minutes to present its case, including rebuttal for the applicant or surrebuttal for the respondent. Before the match, the students informed the bailiff how much time each oralist will spend on their argument, as well as on the amount of time reserved for rebuttal or surrebuttal. While most teams use every second of the time they have to present their case in chief, most teams do not use all the time they reserve for rebuttal or surrebuttal. This is fine. In fact, a team may waive its rebuttal or surrebuttal time entirely as a strategic point, or use only 30 seconds of a 5-minute reserve. Teams may not transfer unused time from one part of the match to any other part. Oralists are limited to presenting for the amount of time they indicated to the bailiff in advance, unless the president decides to grant additional time to an oralist so that she can finish answering a question. Once the round has concluded, the bailiff will ask everyone in the courtroom, except the judges, to rise and exit, or will escort the judges to another location to deliberate. This will allow you and your fellow judges time to discuss the round in private. Some judges prefer to record their thoughts and scores silently before discussing the round, and only modify them if necessary post-discussion, while others like to deliberate with their fellow colleagues before deciding their scores. Any method of deliberation, whether it be collaborative or solitary, is permissible. You are the only person responsible for your scores. So while the group discussion is generally helpful, in the end, your scores are your scores, and you should feel they are appropriate. After your panel has concluded its deliberation, and each judge has recorded all necessary scores on her score sheet, the president will tell the bailiff to bring the competitors and audience members back into the courtroom, or to escort the judges back to the courtroom. Now you will have time for a brief feedback session. During feedback, you should introduce yourself to deliver constructive feedback to each oralist. Specific feedback is highly encouraged because it helps oralists improve upon specific aspects of their performances. This improves their performances in future rounds. Students and coaches alike also appreciate detailed comments because it demonstrates that the judges have put a great deal of thought into the outcome of the round. It is very important to keep several things in mind when giving comments after the match. First, your feedback must not include scores or which side won the match. Second, do not give substantive advice or mention anything in the judge's bench memo. For example, you should not instruct a team to look up a certain case that would strengthen their argument, because that constitutes substantive research that the team should find on its own. Third, teams are supposed to be anonymous. Do not ask the teams what country or what school they are from. Fourth, please do not confess ignorance or ill preparation with respect to the case or international law. This last one is very important. Many judges mistakenly believe that telling a student that he is better prepared than the judges will make the student feel better. In fact, it has been our experience that students interpret such a remark as a confession that the judge was not prepared for the round. Teams immediately complain about these judges to the ILSA executive office, often demanding that the round be restarted. However, Complimenting the teams on their knowledge and hard work is encouraged. They appreciate the recognition, especially if they don't advance further in the competition. Fifth and finally, try to keep your comments brief and remember that some teams argue back-to-back rounds and some of your fellow judges may be judging back-to-back rounds.